As she was packing her bags with me begging to please reconsider, I asked her randomly, "What do you want?" She replied with, "I want a bigger man physically and emotionally, not some over horny child who cannot control his temper." Oh, rough. And she left. That's fucking harsh, dude. You all know where this is going. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Bigger physically. Like, that probably fucking rattled him. You all know where this is going. I went online and placed my first order with sweat on my forehead. Test and anthate T-bone every every goddamn SARM under the sun. What's up, guys? Derek, moreplace.com. Today we find ourselves in a very familiar position once again. This is see, half my fucking videos are gyno and trend stories at this point, but they just keep coming and they just keep getting better and better. And we find ourselves with the most elaborate goddamn movie of a story of all time, at least to date. It is titled My 19 Nor Prison Story, How TREN Almost Made Me Take My Life and Lose My Mind / life. Disclaimer, it is very long. So I'm ready to power through this, you know. I didn't read it yet. I went through to the comments and it seemed pretty favorable. Like, I wasn't gonna risk reading a fucking essay story without knowing it wasn't like a troll post or something, because you never know. You could get halfway through it, it could end up being a fucking disaster of some guy talking about some ridiculous shit. Like, there was another post on the subreddit of a guy talking about how he made it, you know, my cycle gains, blah blah blah, and then it's like you read halfway through and he's talking about Connor Murphy's divine protein shake he shoved up his ass to get the gains. And it's like, how annoying would it be if you spent like 30 minutes reading a thing and then you got to the bottom and it was like Connor Murphy's, you know what I mean? That was a short one, but it's like, obviously I want to make sure it's a fucking serious thing. So some of the comments were me purposely not reading it so Derek can read it to me as a bedtime story. Judging by the fact that Derek laughs at least one time every 3 lines, that can't be factual. I'm like aware of it now. R.I.P. his sore cheeks after this post. That sounds like probably the total opposite of what you wanted it to sound like. This is going to be a 3-hour-long video, LOL. This was a movie, goddamn, best read in a long time. This was a movie, did get, alas, most wondrous readeth in a long time. So anyways, we're going to the fucking top and we're gonna get going into this. So this is by accomplished_dig_660, and he has a helpful award. He has a wholesome award, and he has 2 hug awards. So that's good. So anyways, in case you are still doubting to hop on the spaghetti Trenbolones, I invite you to roll one or grab a drink, sit down and read this. For the too long didn't read, no backstory about my time / cycle in prison and my previous cycle, skip to the fat marked TREN part, which obviously we will not do. Also, disclaimer, I paid for all my crimes, true court of law and justice, and I don't have an issue with leaving my identity here in the form of pictures of my transformation and my ex-girlfriend as to give a clue of the former driving force behind me. So I've been reading a lot of these stories about cycles and TREN in particular, seeing Derek react to them. Maybe mine will make it on there too sometime. Could be it's not entertaining enough, but I feel like it's a good read, and I have the need to send it into the world, as it did leave a heavy impact on my life, but I paid the price, managed to pick up the pieces, which is why I feel comfortable talking about it now. I see clear again, positive. This would be another topic, but I was diagnosed with severe ADHD and was put on Ritalin, not Ritalin, it's Ritalin, at the age of 8, but I stopped taking the meds as they gave me strange episodes. And at 12 or 13 and switched to marijuana daily. Bad life choice when you realize on top I was born too early. Small heart defects and assisted breathing at birth. Not a good mix with TREN. Little glass box baby, but I grew up healthy, no issues, lucky me. I used to be quite undisciplined when things didn't interest me. I wanted to do sports. Now that I think back, I dropped out of cooking school and couldn't hold a job. Kicked out by my parents at 18 for being a little terrorist and smoking up the house, but damn, was I motivated when it came down to girls. Laughing, smiling, I don't know. Even though I was bullied for my unique looks and psycho eye color, I always had the urge to have a girlfriend. Mine was always focused on sex, very frustrated and hyperactive. Most encounters with girls, though, can't say there was one among them that didn't cheat on their boyfriend with me or didn't cheat on me. I seem to always have disloyal women in my life. First girl ever gave me oral, went back inside to the party and kissed her boyfriend on the mouth. Fuck. I was 15, I think. Yeah. I'm assuming this is like fucking, you know, laughing or squinting because it's laughing so hard. I don't know. But that is what we're going with. Eventually, my traits and life perks didn't get me very far. I ended up in debt, 1,000 here, 1K there. What? 1,000 here, 1K there. That's the same thing. No job, no girlfriend. My stoner ways and a breakup with a girl led me to live a solitary life with my stoner buddies. And practically from 19 years old till 24, I lived in self-chosen poverty, debt, insecurity, addiction, anxiety. It was bad. Didn't want to look people in the eye and would get random adrenaline attacks during social interaction, shaking, etc. That's what you get when you lock yourself up with shitty weed and no money and internet connection. One thing I did have going for me was my physique. 28-inch waist and a V-taper, big arms and capped shoulders, abs, and a very dry, lean back. I'm sure people will be the judge of that once we get to your pictures. As I was always complimented on it. Looking back, but we have the most hyper fucked up brain people in our comment section who have been brainwashed by the fitness industry for years. So we will see if people think it is this good. I'm sure it is, but we'll see. As I was always complimented on it. Looking back, as I am 32 now, I should have focused on martial arts and fitness, either one of those or even dancing or acting, just not the choices I made. Haha. I never took it seriously, but I maintained the physique with here and there obligatory mini summer bulk and stopping again after seeing an inch of progress. 1 meter, 79 centimeters, presumably 69 kilograms, my weight at 25 years old. Very good at exercising with my own body weight since I had no legs. Laughing, smiling. So I excelled at dips, pull-ups, weighted pull-ups, etc., etc. I was one of those people everyone suspected I was on steroids, even though I was so skinny. This was due to my arms, as my peak mass and definition is quite good. Straight vein check. I was even approached by trainers requesting to train me free of charge as they saw bodybuilding potential in me. Again, the furthest I ever took that was to feel good and help me with my anxiety, get girls, the usual. Never any ambitions for stage stuff or influencer aspirations. 2015 to 16, this wasn't so popular over here. Here is where the bad decisions start. Next to my job as construction worker at the time, I started dealing drugs, white girl and the green lady. Needless to say, my life of poverty, anxiety, being single, it took a turn quickly, very quickly. Started very innocent, buying online stuff for Counter-Strike and Warframe, to building a Jordan collection, getting some watches, to dating escorts, daily wellnesses, and pool house reservations, champagne daily, more escorts, paying off all my debts, and walking around in Philip Plain, driving in a jet black Volkswagen Jetta that's souped up and looks 3 times the value than it actually was. It didn't take the police long to latch onto me. Surveillance over a time span of 3 years, thinking they would arrest Pablo Escobar in the end. I met a Bulgarian girl. She was a top escort. At the time, she was dating Matthias Schoenert. I don't fucking know. The guy next to Charlize, these names. Charlize Theron in The Old Guard on Netflix. A light-skinned brunette, looks a bit like Anela Sagra. Isn't that fitness chick? Anela San... is that her name? I don't know. I thought it was Anela San... Maybe that's right. That vibe. One day she told me she loved me. I was hooked. Let her move into my house and I wanted to start a life with her. I didn't care she was dating sugar daddies. We felt like the ultimate crime couple, and we were both raking in a bunch of money, but to not get too lost on that side of the story, we broke up. She didn't want as much sex as me, as she was an escort. It didn't click at the time. After a discussion again about her not wanting to have sex that evening, I lost my temper. Told her she was a shitty girlfriend, that sex is not only penetration, but also oral masturbation shit. Even if she danced, that did the trick for me, but she claimed I was wrong. And I sent her to her room so I could masturbate. Day after, she made up her mind to go live separately for a while. As she was packing her bags with me begging to please reconsider, I asked her randomly, what do you want? By the way, this is a super obvious red flag from the beginning. If you are dating a chick who does not have a matching sex drive to yours, long term, it's gonna be a fucking disaster, dude. You get out of that early, or don't have it happen to begin with. Never wife up a chick who has a terrible sex drive, unless you know how to interpret blood work and, potentially intervene if you, had good doctor oversight or some shit. But in general, if a chick just genetically is predisposed to a low sex drive and you are a, high functioning male who needs, a certain amount of attention, it's a problematic equation. So definitely don't get into that situation, especially if you're on Trenbolone sandwiches where you need you're like hyper fucking sexualized. She claimed I was wrong, blah, blah, blah. Day after she made up her mind, I'd go live separately for a while. As she was packing her bags with me begging to please reconsider, I asked her randomly, what do you want? She replied with, I want a bigger man physically and emotionally, not some over horny child who cannot control his temper. Oh, rough. And she left. That's fucking harsh, dude. You all know where this is going. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Bigger physically. Like that probably fucking rattled him. You all know where this is going. I went online and placed my first order with sweat on my forehead. Test and anthe, T-ball, and every goddamn SARM under the sun. Did a crazy amount of research on bro forums. Emailed Dylan Gemelli. Talked to doctors and salesmen. It was a golden cycle except for the SARMs cocktail. But I wanted that to go along with it. I wanted an edge. I got busy, very amateurish, bad diet, but goddamn, I made some gains. Went from 69 kilograms to 78 kilograms, just what I needed. The hunger, the drive, that skin glow, the quick repair. Heaven. Finally, the physique I was supposed to but never able to attain due to my weed smoking days and my shitty motivation for consistency. And I met up with her again. Didn't take long for us to reconnect as a couple. She was very impressed. After this cycle, I spiraled back down to 73 to 75 kilograms and I did a half-ass PCT with Clomid and Aromacin. HCG, which is Pregnal, all that jazz. But all I wanted was to cycle again ASAP because I realized I had put in more work, more gear, because I realized I had to put in more work, more gear, so I thought. So I switched to Decadurable and Debulan Test. Classic heavy duty bulker. Now this made me a real chunky boy. This is literally the fucking fuel that created Fat Derek pictures from the past. Hyper bloated, fucking massive moon face mode. It's no joke. But I guess I'm not here to talk about gains that much. It's about what it does to your mind, potentially scarring your life. I became very emotional and I would send these long ass texts to my girl to analyze our relation and how and where we could fix things. I felt it in my bones that I could snap at any moment, but I had control still on this compound. Mainly my sex drive became a problem. It always was from a very young age, but this was nuts. I even went to my girl who lived pretty far from me, telling her that we needed to have daily sex even with her job, as I was jerking off until my goddamn dick was bleeding. This raised big question marks as this was the reason for our former breakup, but she went with it. She catered to me. Effed up part was I started cheating on her, holding on to two things. A, my girl is an escort. She also fucks other guys. B, she once said in a rage that I should get blowjobs from other women if that would mean me acting normal again as a boyfriend. But to no avail, I met a girl who was just on my level. She was into hardcore sex. The goal for her was to cry and be abused in a respectful way. It was her only way to reach climax. This was right up my alley since I loved to dominate when I was on Deca. I eventually recorded a session and put it on X videos. It got taken down multiple times until it got reviewed as actual foreplay, and this became normal for me. It wasn't okay, but from being 6 years single to hardcore sex with multiple women without flirting or conversations. Meanwhile, me and my girl drifted further and further apart as I went completely paranoid, wanting to be close to her, having nothing to do but work part-time, sell and buy drugs, smoke, play games, bang other women, and work out. Also, the life was catching up to me. I had too many customers and some people were badly addicted. One guy even broke into my house when I replied that I could not help him that day, trying to ease his addiction, but he climbed over my fence and took the back door, thinking I was not there, grabbing from the bag in the closet. Luckily, I got a French bulldog that barks at anything he hears. I got out of bed completely naked, bum rushed him and smacked his glasses off his face. But I was compassionate and let him go with some Sparta kicks up his ass. Later, he would send his girlfriend to buy C. Needless to say, she didn't leave the house without doing me a favor first. Toxic. It spiraled out of control and I didn't see the big picture anymore. Started accepting payment from women in the form of sexual favors. Girls came running to cheat on their boyfriends. It was nice on one hand, but on the other, had to fight angry boyfriends, deal with junkies, deal with the paranoia of police, deal with my conscience. I didn't pay attention anymore. Only when I went to bed, I always repeated this line. It's going to be over soon. This way of living can't last without consequence. One day I decided to clean my slate, called up my girl and told her I wanted to see her. She knew what was coming. I wanted to lay all the dirt on the table, make it up to her and give her the old knee bender in a Paris-bound weekend. I just had to finish my cycle, clean up my whole operation, and we were out of here, completely motivated for life. But as I was driving to the grocery store with my Frenchie in the backseat texting my girl, I was followed by another Jetta, which I would notice normally, but I wasn't paying attention at all. I parked at the store and the other car boxed me in. One woman getting out with a red/orange armband, knocking on my window, trying to open my door, ordering me to get out. Detectives, forgot all about them. It was the day of my arrest, the whole shebang, swarming with cops after a minute. Warrant for a search of my house and car simultaneously with warrants for 3 friends of mine who were helping me out in a minor capacity from time to time. I went numb. I didn't resist, didn't format my phone in a hurry. I just got out of my car like a zombie, like I was expecting it, wanting it to be over quickly as it was my hometown I was at. Interrogations went on, where I discovered that practically everyone already talked and confessed against me, which could have been an interrogation tactic, of course, but they placed the testimonies on the table in front of me, backstabbed by my closest friends, while I was defending them like a goddamn maniac, so they locked my ass up pronto. As I did start to talk and admit, but I was never ever going to give up my suppliers. Also, I mentioned to the judge and detectives that I would need medical help while in prison due to my steroid usage, so basically access to Clomid, Novadex, Romacin, and Pregnal. They promised me an endocrinologist ASAP. All is well, I tell myself. My money they can't touch, my girl is safe, and my puppy has people to look after him. In prison, my girl was very supportive at first. I called her daily and we talked like real people. The flash and glamour was gone. That when I got out, we would do things right, etc., etc. The classic talk, I guess, when you're locked up, but I meant it though. She visited me and cried when she saw me, held my hands and asked me to move back in with her as soon as I got released. Fresh start. I was beyond excited. Prison was easy with that thought in my mind. So the first week went okay in there. I don't have an issue with being the alpha dog, and people recognize that. Looking decent and having muscles also helps out. Gets respect from the guards and the fellow prisoners, but I started to become weaker and smaller gradually, and then I realized it. I needed something fast. So I went on a crusade to see that endocrinologist who never even showed up, which in turn made me go ham with my requests to see the doctor again, backed by my pretty expensive lawyer. Here's the kicker. The doctor came to this conclusion: no PCT, but to extend my cycle in prison. Sustained on 250 milligrams every week. 23 to 24 hours locked up with some Sazwell in your system after a month made me go loco, to say the least. So every chance I got, I went to train in the outside gym, which had like these fixed weighted discs on bars that you had to move up and down. And also a pull-up bar where I had my cellmate pull my ankles for extra weight. The Albanians quickly saw me grow from the gear and interrogated the shit out of me. Where you get, my friend? What? Where you get, my friend? How much you eat, my friend? What you eat, my friend? But I played it off for a while and told them I bought extra cantina, more bananas, more bread, more meat, and lots of ramen, I told them. Until it became spring and I couldn't hide it anymore. So about a month before I thought I was going to leave that shithole, I admitted that the doctor gave me Sustanon, testosterone mix, enanthate, cypionate, etc. That created some funny internal riots, lol. When I was arrested, I had my gold-plated diesel watch on me. Well, I don't know why that was hard to say, which I got to keep except for visits. Once in the yard, one guy, probably Afghan, wanted to trade me 5 packs of tobacco for the watch. I mocked him for even asking we ended up brawling after he grabbed my wrist while posturing up to each other. I ended up choking him in a rear naked until the guards came up to drag both our asses to solitary. And that's where you see your demons, guys. Goddamn, the hole is scary when you overthink things like I do. 2 full weeks I was in that place with a notebook and the plastic inside of a pen, as not to have anything to commit suicide with. It deteriorates the mind for sure, especially with more tests in your system than you know what to do with. But the worst was yet to come. My lawyer came over, and once I got out of solitary, and he told me I would get a new interrogation, and depending on my cooperation, that I would get released. Also, my mother had to speak to me, he said. So I called her, got to talking, asked her what's up. Turned out my beloved girlfriend that mattered the world to me was cheating on me for over a year with practically a richer, handsomer, traditional Bulgarian version of me. And I was just there for about 3 months. My world crashed right there. And let me tell you how lucky the world was that I was locked up at that moment, how lucky she was. I'll spare the drama and the back and forth after I got the Instagram screenshots in the mail, but turned out my girl was an expert of backfiring, gaslighting, and just the whole typical narcissist handbook in her back pocket. It's a customer, a friend she helped out. Don't believe your mother. The tattoo of my name in his neck is fake. I declined heavily, crying every moment I would get to myself, beating myself over the head and redecorating my cell with punches and kicks. I refused visits, refused to eat. All I did was stare at National Geographic and outside. Also, someone in the yard whispered to me that I was visibly balding at the center of my goddamn head. But strange enough, it was no effort for me to not do drugs in prison. I smoked maybe 2 joints and took some downers, that's all. I received all those hits on a sober mind, except for the anabolic compounds in my system. Release day came, stood outside with my box of stuff, got picked up by 2 girls I know. Immediately, I get an anxiety attack after they hug me and are all excited to see me. I start shaking and I excuse my way into the backseat of the car to quietly sort of hyperventilate, lol. All I wanted to do was go home and chill. She took me to a pita place, rolled me 2 big joints, and took me home. Class girl. So by now, I think my character is quite obvious. How I behave, my insecurity and big ego at the same time. Anxiety attacks and the heavy need to be with someone to wash that all away. Needing that validation of having a nice girl next to me to show her off because I used to be broke, addicted, and single, bullied for being ugly and being skinny with a big head. This was my medicine, I thought. My compass. Get big, rich, and have a kick-ass chick. But there I was, declining again. Cheated on, no car, no income, no direct way to get my money because eyes are still on me. So after a month, I contacted my people and put a new team together with some straight shooters from the inside. I got back on track, bought my car back from the impound, and I called V my girl. I took the guy she was dating out of the picture with some slick moves. No violence even. Winky face. But I did take his chip off his shoulder. That was around the time I took her to see Kevin Hart perform in Antwerp 2018. Surprised V with a meet and greet with the man himself. Day after she had to judge a fashion show for Miss Belgium, and again she disappeared and the contact declined. Again, some sugar daddy throwing cash at her. She was sitting in helicopters and doing photo shoots. But she swore it was nothing bad going on. I had to relax, she said. One day I went shopping for some specific liquor, Bailey's, and I see this tiny Russian girl working there. She had a working vest on, but I could see she had huge quads and a crazy round ass. I asked the girl where I could find Bailey's. I noticed she was nervous and impressed as I was dressed to the nines to go out that evening. But she couldn't for her life help me to find the bottle. We kept looking past it as we obviously had a chemistry going on, and she just started working there, I noticed. So she asked her coworker and she told me this before she went back to her aisle. If you need anything else, I'm right there. I'm sure I'll find it this time. With this cute Russian accent, poof. That's all I needed, just a minute to recollect, and I went back to her as she was restocking cereal in her aisle. I said to her, yeah, I'm looking for something, but I can't find it either. What's that? She asked with these big, she asked me with these big eyes and a cute ass smile. I smiled back and said, what's your name and number? She dropped both boxes she was holding onto the floor and replied, you don't need that for anything. Some automatic defense she had going on. But I persisted. I said, your Facebook then. She smiled and asked my phone. Typed in her name on my account and sent herself a friend request. I felt like a boss, haha. Legit, something I won't ever forget. And this is why cold approach is important. This is why it separates you from the other guys. I met up with her pretty quick. She even stayed to sleep the first day, and it soon became obvious that this girl had run away from somewhere and lived by herself survival mode, just like me back in the day. She even used a fake name everywhere to avoid her family. She is 20, I am 29. One day, when I was picking her up from work, she had to swing by her apartment and I followed her. She told me to stay in the elevator door as it would only take a minute, but I wouldn't have that and I kept walking and forced my way into the apartment while she tried to hold me back. I had to know, I hate secretive behavior, but all I found was nothing. No baby crib, not a whole Russian family, nothing. Just a mattress on the floor and a pillow and a ton of shopping bags. That's what she was ashamed of, for she had nothing. Just clothes and a job, a guy who used her, and a new friend, me. This is where I took it upon myself to take care of S, Russian girl. That moment I decided that she would never want for anything in her life if she is with me. And I did make sure of that, but not in the way you'd expect, as I was still in love with V. Stupid ass. Laughing face, laughing face. So me and S made it to our mansion, or made it our mission to win back our exes and take revenge on the world. In the meantime, we would be best friends with benefits. A power couple, and goddamn it worked. We trained like crazy, natural. As I saw S maneuver through the gym and grocery stores and catch attention from every guy with her amazing physique, 5'3" and weighing 72 kilograms. What the fuck? 5.3 and weighing 72 kilograms, huge but proportionate ass, and crazy muscled quads and calves. Something dawned on me, and I suggested it to her. I asked what she would say to 500 euros a day, and she asked me, how the... ? I explained it all to her, how she could become the biggest escort or porn star in the next 2 years and retire off of that money. And to my surprise, she just took one day to agree with me. So I put her up to the game through a friend of mine I got to know while I was dating these top model escorts 2 years prior. It went good. She became assertive, much needed. She had money, very much needed. She could laser her stretch marks, paint her nails, buy shoes, and be happy again. She even bought me gifts, even though we already had a 50-50 deal going on. We were close friends. She saw me as a brother figure, a father figure. We finished each other's sentences, my little cute Russian runaway gangsta. I cooked for her, combed her hair, put her to sleep, drove her to school, and helped her rehearse exams. And then we would smoke weed and watch a horror or listen to Tory Lanez. But as you know, I was still going for V, and I did. How was I going to do that? The only way I know how. Get bigger than before, bigger than the first 2 times, bigger than last time. But what is left? I already did the brother of the heaviest compound. It needs to be spot on this time. Something that catapults me past my previous plateaus. TREN, in all caps. I read all the stories, the horror tales. I even talked to a pro bodybuilder for his opinion. Even he told me to stay away. That I would ruin my lean, symmetrical physique. He went on, I don't know how that would happen. He went on about how one of his friends became half a transvestite. A client became insane, one ended up dead, and one kid that gave up on bodybuilding as a whole, a phenom this last kid, his bars were always bent on a squat or a deadlift at 19 years of age. He was holding over 100 kilograms of lean mass at 5'9", and he stopped after realizing he was ruining his health for stupid cups and medals and sponsorships that meant nothing to him. But none of that deterred me. I had a goal, and I was going to claim my goddamn prize, to win my Bulgarian beauty by my side. What a stupid ass I was. Laughing face. So I contacted my doctor, got myself what the fuck? I contacted my doctor, got myself a prescription for Trenbolone enanthate and test enanthate. How? What doctor, bro? Where? And a nurse who would later teach us how to inject into my glutes. I can be convincing, laughing face, but the doctor would only allow it for 2 months, then evaluate my blood, etc. You're gonna have to do a follow-up, bro, because what the fuck? I got myself a prescription for TREN. A drug that is not approved for use in humans, prescribed by a doctor, does not seem to line up very much. But anyways, I can be convincing, but the doctor would only allow it for 2 months, then evaluate my blood, etc. Now, again, there are some HRT clinics that are really fucking not just liberal, but literally will do illegal shit like prescribe Dianabol or prescribe Trenbolone. And it's not pharmaceutical grade stuff, even though they will claim it is. It is really just underground lab gear being peddled through a legitimate entity, essentially. If that's what's going on, that would be the only explanation that makes sense, unless he's at the end of the day, though, it's not an actual prescription. You're pretty much just buying gear illegally. So anyways, stats, 29 years and 3/4 at this time, I think. Same height, obviously, 76 kilograms, bloated from depressed binge drinking after prison. But then the sandwich kicked in. Holy bananas, nothing like it. I blew up towards 88 kilograms, but not Deca style, like a goddamn Belgian bull. It synced really well with me. My shoulders blew up. My back became a work of art. I had 45 centimeter arms easily, 17.7 inches. And I didn't even train my arms. Laughing face. And mind you, I was never crazy strong. I was athletic, yes, but never did I achieve crazy bench press numbers or squats or deadlifts, even on Deca and test and D-ball. I kept it safe and injury-free, stoner mode. I have a friend and he is a butcher. Recently he has become my best friend, even ride or die homie, but he is around 115 kilograms at this time. 1 meter, 88 to 90 centimeters, I think. Me at 86 to 88 kilograms. I was easily twice as strong as him. Deadlifts went towards almost 400 pounds, where I used to struggle with 120 kilograms as I had skinny runner legs. Bench press went towards 140 kilograms max, safely, and lying down hammer press machine, even 170 kilograms. Squat, I was reaching new limits every week, from 110 kilograms towards 180 to 200 kilograms. I was progressing. Pull-ups, I easily did 25 at 88 kilograms body weight. But I got addicted and the cycle didn't seem to end for me, as I didn't get it prescribed anymore. I had to go on the black market, and sometimes I got different esters. It's like, what'd you get the first time, bro? Maybe it was underdosed or a different compound. Who the hell knows? My cycle started off with about 150 tests and 100 TREN. Slowly, I built that up to 300 and 300, juggling the numbers and esters provided and providers around. See, a lot of people don't realize TREN is actually very, very potent, to the point that dosages like this still do a significant amount. So like, I remember back in the day on the forums, they used to say like, the starting dose was like 300 to 400 of ACE. Like, that's a fuck ton, dude. You don't need that much to start. And frankly, you don't even need fucking Trenbolone to begin with, as you know by now. But anyways, I didn't want to admit it to myself. I was under construction. Meanwhile, I was tripping balls while dealing with regaining the love of V and maintaining everything with S. After about 4 months, I was turning red as a cooked lobster on occasion, developing gyno on my left nipple that started to lactate even. My hair was thinner, I thought. I had severe back knee and acne on my arms. I was so goddamn horny. I would have fucked anything with a hole, and I became very cocky and aggressive, even thought of hitting S and V a couple times when they acted up, but also my anxiety went up together with my ego. Exactly. The hybrid fucking classic combo. The weirdest mix you can imagine. But damn, I was big, and both girls thought I looked amazing. S was proud to walk next to me, and I could provide security for her and myself. I soon reached 92 kilograms, and I basically just looked like a souped up version of Ragnar from Vikings, attracting a lot of attention, which I liked and didn't like, as what I did for a living, and my newfound paranoia and anxiety didn't match with that. I did have a moon face also, so I kept my beard nice and firm, lol. One Saturday, I drove back from the gym. I was very pumped to get home, overtaking one car, two cars, and a third, but the third one took a turn to the left as I passed him. I never saw the signal as it was full sun outside. So he crashed right into my right front wheel, catapulting me and my Jetta at 75 miles per hour towards an electrical pole, which I dodged, towards a tree, a hedge, an iron gate, another hedge, and another tree. I was quite shook up, dazed, glass in my face, eyebrow leaking, lower back smashed. All I could think of was, shit, I don't have a car anymore to go see V and drive S. And fuck, I smoked a joint. It will show when the cops test my saliva and I will lose my license. I crawled out of the wreckage and made my way to the Mercedes GLE I collided with, and the whole nose of the SUV was gone. Gandhi, Butcher, my buddy, showed up and he had my back. Brought a soda and a Snickers bar so I wouldn't pass out. Turns out the driver of the car is claiming I drove too fast and that I was at fault, etc. I was too dazed to fight it, so I called my lawyer. He asked me to film the accident immediately, and after he said that I would be looking at a brand new car. I was not at fault, lol. Overtaking has priority over left turns if it is already initiated, the police told me there. I should have died that day. I was extremely lucky. I came home and realized my back was not okay. So I had to stop working out for a while until the scans came true. Turns out I had 3 damaged discs. One chipped off, one moved a bit, and one had a break. And the cartilage wanted to slip out. Lumbago, as they say. But strangely, my newfound muscle mass allowed me to bust through it. I now had big legs to support it all, and I had a great core, so it didn't take long for me to repair partially through therapy and injections. The cartilage still wanted to get the fuck out, but all was stable otherwise. Me and S took a break from work and gym, and we lived life. Got a second Frenchie, and we started to grow closer. At least that's what I thought. Because suddenly she met someone, an Armenian gangster who became obsessed with her. Many guys did, but this dude was persistent. I figured if he makes her happy, why not? There was no difference in it for me. In the past, she sometimes had a date with a guy separate from work, but this dude was different, obsessive, sabotaging her work and our friendship. She started to lie to me and make shit up to be with him. And at the same time, she realized he was a threat to everything we built, as he didn't want her doing the work either, even though he met her as a customer first. He claimed he has a weapons dealer and a smart investor, but I didn't believe jack shit of what he said. No weapons dealer would claim he deals weapons. Either he was a liar or extremely stupid, so I told her he has to go. She agreed, but she wanted to experience a bit more, and then she would let him go. Please stay at my side. He wants you out of the picture. It's you and me, nobody else. You will see how strong I am. I will dump him, etc., etc. Until one night, 3 a.m., I wake up with my phone exploding from S and an unknown number. Messages by him texting me to come over to talk with tough smiley faces. Let's talk, bro. Today's the day. He was drunk and started hitting her, she said on the phone. He wants to kill you, she said to me. I am scared for my life. Can you come get me? He probably has a gun. I slammed 2 beers for some courage, call up some friends, but can't reach anyone. So I hopped in my new car and drove over there, only to receive a text message from her that everything is okay now. Yeah, F that, I said. Probably him texting, I thought. I park and I text her to come outside, but she doesn't come downstairs. It's him. He wants to shake my hand and acts like it's all normal to provoke me at night, hit her, and then act like nothing happened. But he acts all weird and holds one hand in his pocket asking me if we can talk a bit further away from the front door. My reaction was, "What's in your pocket?" And I grabbed for it, and I fail. "You don't want to do that," he replies. So by now it's pretty obvious he has a weapon of some sorts in his pocket. I stall the whole situation and keep us both in view and under the streetlights. Suddenly S comes outside. She doesn't have a scratch on her, and with a soft voice she says that all is okay. But I'm so wired and aggressive at this point that I press my head against his forehead and tell him, "If you ever hurt her, I will gut you like a fish." To which he decides to make the dumbest move. He takes his 2 fingers and grabs the tip of my beard. Rubbing his fingers together, he says, "Belgians are so funny. They pretend to be hard, but are soft like Play-Doh." To which I grabbed his face, punched him in the gut, pushed him into a bush, trying to follow up with possibly disarming him. He got up quick and reaches for the pocket immediately. He looks at S and he says, "You see yourself." He chooses violence, and he takes her goddamn phone out of his pocket and hands it to her. "What is this shit?" He jumps over the bush and posts up. I took every shot he had. "You can't take me down at this point unless you tase me or shoot me. I'm a raging bull on TREN with a buzz on who was ready to die for this girl a moment ago. I am here with a purpose." Mind you, I have no experience in fighting, even though I think it's something I should have gotten into. After some boxing, we started wailing on each other like hockey players do, grabbing the other by the collar and trade punches. He gives up after a good one to the temple, and I throw him on the asphalt, where I overpower him with my basic wrestling, and it ends up with me doing a cop knee choke. I was planning to hurt this guy, explaining to him that he needs to have and show respect to me and her. Meanwhile, I hear her screaming and screaming in the back of my head. The fight lasted around 2 minutes by then, and suddenly everything starts to fade a bit. I feel like my chest is getting smaller and my lungs and heart have no room to function. Can't breathe correctly. My legs give out, but I get up anyway. He sees his chance and starts pummeling me, but he soon sees I'm not okay in a bad way. She screams, "His heart, his heart." I stumbled to the car and fell down face first, only to get up again and get in the driver's seat while they both try to help me and urge me to stay and catch my breath. Even he hands me my vest and asks if I am okay. This was obviously the 1-year Trenbolone cycle that did a number on my cardiovascular system and the 14 kilograms extra weight. A near heart attack? I will never know and don't aim to find out until I recover completely from all of this. I told him again to never hurt her, and I drove off. Once home, I realized I was bleeding all over my body from wrestling on the asphalt. It took a long time to recover those wounds. After a month, she came back to me and said she chooses me and will end everything with him. We bond like never before and make serious plans, but I have my insiders in her apartment complex and they spot him visiting her at night, hiding his car in her garage. So yeah, no, everything went downhill from there. The lies stacked up. We took breaks. He became my rival until she completely turned her back on me in a bad way. We wouldn't work anymore, not be friends anymore. We just lived as closest friends for almost 2 years. And all came down to a halt. After a month of silence, I invited both of them to talk, and she was completely brainwashed, saw me as an abusive manipulator that used her and blinded her from reality, etc., whatever, lol. To which I demanded him to step out of the room and let me say goodbye in private to her. As soon as he leaves my house, I can't control myself and I start tearing up without even crying. She gets up and walks over to me, hugging me. "I will always be there for you no matter what. I will come back regardless," she said. "But when I come back, I expect to see a better man." I got on my knees and rested my head on her lap, told her I will miss her ever since then. When she sees me, she tells me to keep driving. Hostile. Maybe it's that defense mechanism she always had. Maybe it's for real. I guess I will never know. Last month, she was checking my IG stories. It's been a big year ago now that all of this happened, and I also then abruptly ended my cycle without any PCT or follow-up blood work. At the end, I was shooting up full grams of TREN/test cocktails that left me shivering in my bed. Long story short, it's not worth the risk. If you don't do this on a pro level or don't have access to pharma grade and doctors who will assist you, just don't. Well, you also didn't have pharma grade either, bro, but yeah, obviously, if you're not stepping on stage, is there a point? Like, not really. This compound used above 150 milligrams can make or break you, most likely break. Yeah, I guess like 150 milligrams is not a lot, but it's also, people think you need a lot more than you really need. You perceive the world in your own little way with weird, violent thoughts, and you deal with stress and loss in a totally different way. That is true. The emotional response component on TREN is, even if you think you're normal, I can almost guarantee you're not acting normal. My hair thinned out and I became red all over my body. I had acne all over my arms and back. I had a lactating nipple with gyno. I have rosacea in my neck and chest that I now have to laser away with thousands of euros. And I lost all those gains. Only one benefit. and that's not even sure, but it seems that I can easily reach my TREN physique now with minimal work, genetic potential, question mark. I float around 80 kilograms now, natural now. Last injection was February of 2019, and I look pretty lean with ease and only Corona home workouts. I know I can reach 88 kilograms lean with testosterone and cardarine easily, but I need the gym for that. I choose SARMs above roids any day of the week. Edit, my second post shows pictures that with SARMs alone, I can now easily maintain a lean 86 kilogram with, in my opinion, very good definition mass. So did I ever need the DECA and the TREN and the test T-ball? Did they help me get this mass, solidify it, or would the SARMs have done the same over a longer period of time? I wonder if anyone can give me insight on this. Okay, so there's definitely something to do with, again, accrual of muscle tissue and banking up myonuclei over time. And we've talked about this before, how the literature suggests that once you bank up this kind of muscle tissue over the years, it's much easier to retain it indefinitely. So if you are, in your prime years and you use, whatever you use, you train whatever intensity you train, you eat a fuck ton of food, the ability to grow in that environment is obviously more favorable than, 10 years down the line when you're older and you have less of an ability to tolerate the stress that comes from exogenous compounds, the ability to induce muscle protein synthesis in general. All of the kind of mechanisms by which you grow muscle become worse and worse over time as you get older and older. So the idea would be that, you build in your prime, and then down the line, you can maintain that primed look with less and less than you would otherwise need to achieve that, should you have waited until down the line to try and, build that goal physique. Now, as far as if you could maintain get 86 kilograms lean without the gear to begin with, like, what is that? What is that? Like, it's like fucking, it's not that heavy, right? 86 kilograms. We're looking at about 190 pounds max. So yeah, like, I don't think that's unreasonable to think whatsoever that you could have achieved that with just SARMs, to be honest. Like, I don't know if you necessarily need a TREN. So, but again, a lot of them, they're working via the same mechanism of action. They're both binding with the androgen receptor and inducing muscle protein synthesis in the same way. Obviously, there are a lot of satellite interactions that come from gear, especially with TREN, offsetting catabolism and whatnot through glucocorticoid antagonism, receptor antagonism and stuff like that. But it's not like, okay, so this is the physique. Let's see, I took some psychedelic truffles recently and it helped me purge all this bad shit out. This was my last phase of carrying this with me. I am regaining my old drive again after a big ass year of feeling like I was going nuts. Maybe someone can learn from it. Okay, so let's see the pictures here. So okay, so this is natural, test and T-ball, sorry. Second cycle, DECA. Oh wow, he has like actual fucking pictures here. He's got some 100 milligram per milliliter DECA. That must have been annoying to pin. This chick, fucking dime buddy. My boy, 92. So this guy, Jesus, this guy looks like a fucking sauced up like Derek Huff from, what's that fucking dance show? It's Dancing with the Celebrities, Dancing with the Stars, one of those two. This guy literally looks like fucking Derek Huff on TREN. Dude, is this not the same goddamn guy? Like, holy shit. It's like identical. Gynosaurus lobster rex. Okay. All was well for a while. Russian quads. Are these tennis rackets? Prison mail. Prison mail 2. Butcher and me. Okay, so that was it. And there is another thread here with more pictures, presumably. Since my story is catching some buzz, I will add images here of what I was able to achieve after the 1 year TREN cycle and the depression I had to wrestle through. I decided after the first lockdown to go heavy on recomposition to show myself that I still had it. Took RAD 140, 10 to 15 milligrams a day, and cardarine 10, 15 milligrams a day. I achieved this in 4 to 5 months, my best shape ever, I would argue. My first 2 pictures are the last TREN progress pictures I took for comparison at the end of 2019. The rest is almost a year later in 2020. Gyno is gone with the wind, lucky me. Redness has subsided. Hair is regaining volume. I don't think I am a monster truck on 2 legs anymore, which is also a good thing. Focused on my health, my 2 dogs, and making smart moves. No more Superman shit for me. Peace. By T. All right, so Trenboy 2019. Ooh, looking fucking hefty, dude. Tren Boy 2019 with the fucking crucifix pose. Here is Recomp 2020 on RAD 140 and Carterine. SARMs Recomp. Yeah. Yeah, man, looking fucking solid. Can't wait to have Derek read your story to the boys. That would legit blow my mind. Also, how he would fit in one video, practically impossible. No, it's not, bro. We're only at 47 minutes. I've definitely done worse than this. So anyways, that's fucking it. That was the full story. I got it all in there. And yeah, like again, this is a great example of, did you need TREN to achieve, like he even says this himself, that he takes a minor amount of SARMs and he got his best shape ever, he would argue. Now again, would he have achieved that shape if it wasn't for the past exposure to test, DECA, D-ball, TREN, etc.? I think that like this physique is very realistically achievable with minimal exposure to ridiculously exotic shit. So I'm not saying what you should or shouldn't do. I'm just saying that the majority of people with reasonable genetics can definitely do this with minimal stuff. I don't think you need TREN to do this. I don't necessarily think you need anything specifically. I think you can make very reasonable choices with clinically proven compounds that have years backing their safety and efficacy and whatnot. Maybe the cosmetic look you have while you gain the muscle might not be as favorable as TREN, but the end goal and the actual muscle accrual, the net amount you gain, will be similar, if not identical. Potentially even superior with certain compounds. Like TREN in an off-season bulking phase looks good. You gain lean, it's fucking sick. You look like a fucking animal on it. However, it doesn't necessarily mean there's more actual accrual of muscle tissue during that process. It just looks more favorable, but you're not necessarily gaining anything more. I actually guarantee you're not gaining a significant amount more than you would with other compounds that are not going to fuck your brain up necessarily. Well, obviously every compound is neurotoxic in general, except for test at physiologic amounts, but you know what I mean. It's not going to make you like borderline clinically insane, anxiety through the roof, trensomnia, all that kind of shit. So anyways, that was a good one, dude. That was quite the, I wasn't even sure if I was going to get through that in an hour when I first did the scroll through here. And I was not expecting to see a cameo by sauced as fuck Derek Huff, but in fact, he did make it into this one. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. Was not a 3-hour video. It happened to be 49 minutes. So you put it on 2 times speed, you get through this in fucking 25 minutes, dude. Go figure. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that one. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, check out my blog, moreplatesmoredates.com. Follow me on Instagram at moreplatesmoredates. Facebook, Snapchat, BitChute, Twitter, TikTok, Apple Podcasts. If you want to support the channel, you can check out anything I'm associated with in the video description below. My TRT clinic, it's all telemedicine from the comfort of your own home, Gorilla Mind. Nootropic formulas, Gorilla Mode, pre-workout formulas that design myself from scratch. My recommended lab tests and diagnostics, which you should be doing if you're exposing yourself to the spaghetti, Trenbolones, and shit like that, obviously. So definitely get on that if you are not somebody who's getting regular diagnostics. Even if you're natty, I would still recommend getting relatively, even if it's infrequent, getting somewhat consistent blood work, at least, once a year. If you're a young guy, it's less critical, but it's still a good idea nonetheless to stay on top of your health markers. And if you're taking gear, you should definitely be doing it far more often. So anyways, that is it. If you want to support anything else, it's all in the video description below. Thank you guys for watching. Talk to you soon.